What's going on, King of Kings family? It's day 13 of our Lent campaign, dwelling in the Gospel of John through the 40 days of Lent. And today's reading is John chapter 7, verses 1 through 31, where Jesus goes up to the festival and he's kind of doing it in secret, but teachers got to teach, and so he goes out and he's teaching, and the Pharisees come and find him. And if we remember back a couple of chapters where Jesus healed a man on the Sabbath, this was the thing the Pharisees were really mad about. They were really mad that Jesus healed on the Sabbath. The Sabbath was supposed to be a time when no work was done, and apparently healing to them was considered work. And so he was so flagrant and so really in their face, and really showed them up in that made them angry, and they wanted to kill him. And so they come at Jesus and they're giving him a hard time, and Jesus says, "Look, I did one thing. I did one work, and you are losing your minds over this. You guys are fine with circumcising on the Sabbath," which was circumcision was the sign of the covenant. It was the sign that God had claimed, the same way that we think of baptism, that God had claimed that family of that child. And you're okay with the impartation of the covenant on the Sabbath. But I came to do the thing that the covenant was really about, which was healing and reconciling us to God and to one another. So this person that was healed, he would have been viewed as a sinner, because only sinners get sick in Jesus's culture. He would have been potentially seen as unclean and sort of cut off from society. And so Jesus comes and by his healing reconciles this guy to God and to the community, which is what the covenant was entirely about. And I think what we have to remember is that all of our spiritual practices, all of the good things that we do, there's a reason that frames them. And the reason is not we do this because we're good people. We do this because it makes God love us more. We do this because we're justified by our actions. None of that is true. When we seek to follow Jesus, the goal of us following Jesus is not about us. The goal of following Jesus is about reconciling the world to God and to one another. That's what Jesus wants to do in us when we follow him. Now, we do benefit from that. Life is there is fruit in that, and there is true life. True life is found for us in that. But it's when we take the eyes off of ourselves and the benefit that we get, and we turn our eyes to what the purposes of God are, which is about that person who's disconnected from God and who's disconnected from others. That's what Jesus is trying to accomplish. So thinking about your motivation for following Jesus, is it primarily self-centered? Is your motivation self-centered in the same way that the Pharisees were self-centered in their application of the law? Or is your motivation for following Jesus because what Jesus can and will do through you in the world? And if your motivation is self-centered because that's all you know, because that's all you've been, maybe you've been taught, now is a great time to repent of that and to turn that over and say, Jesus, I want your will to be done in my life. I want your kingdom to break in through me and do what it is that your kingdom does, and that I would be the indirect recipient of the benefit of that. So that's all for today. Hope you have an awesome day. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.